Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has shifted, and the earth can feel it. You have stepped into a moment that has been written in eternity's script long before your first breath. For years, you walked through the shadows, carrying power that even you could not name. Now the veil is lifting. The heavens have whispered your name into the winds. And those who once overlooked you now feel something different when you enter the room. You were never ordinary. The reason you were rejected, misunderstood, and left behind was not because you lacked worth, it was because your anointing disturbed their comfort. Every delay was divine protection. Every heartbreak, a chiseling of destiny. Now, in this very season, God reveals what was hidden. You have been authorized. The unseen realm already knows it. And the natural world is beginning to respond. You can feel it, can't you? The shift, the strange silence before breakthrough. The people who used to talk over you now pause when you speak. There's a weight to your words, a rhythm of heaven in your tone. It's not arrogance, it's authority. Heaven has clothed you in a mantle that cannot be faked, cannot be copied, cannot be counterfeited. Beloved, understand this. When God crowns someone in secret, He will eventually display them in the open. Every wilderness you survived was a private training ground for public dominion. The nights you cried alone, they were classrooms of character. The silence that made you question your worth, it was the sound of heaven sharpening your edge. Now, your time has come. The darkness recognizes you before people do. That's why certain atmospheres felt heavy. Why you could sense tension when you entered rooms. It wasn't paranoia, it was discernment. Your spirit was awakening to your rank in the kingdom. You were born to disrupt, to dethrone lies, to break patterns. Every ounce of fear you fought against was a test of endurance for the weight of glory you now carry. Do you remember those moments when you nearly gave up? When you asked God, "Why me?" The answer was always the same: because you were built for impact. Because when you rise, others rise too. There are lives attached to your obedience, destinies waiting for your yes. That's why the warfare has been so violent. The enemy never attacks mediocrity, only greatness. Listen, chosen one, this season is not about proving your worth. It's about walking in your assignment. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Those who mocked you will soon quote you. Those who doubted your prayers will ask for your intercession. Those who tried to bury your name will watch it spread like wildfire. The irony of heaven is that God exalts what man despises. Your authority is not in your volume, it's in your alignment. When your spirit aligns with heaven's order, every obstacle bends. When you speak with obedience, creation responds. Even the winds and the waves recognize the voice of one sent by God. You are not rising by accident. This is divine timing, orchestrated by the same hand that wrote your tears into testimony. As the prophet declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, "Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy." Beloved, step into this truth. You are heaven's ambassador on earth. When you speak, you shift atmospheres. When you pray, strongholds tremble. You were not sent here to blend in. You were sent to reign. Your name is known in heaven. Your steps are ordered by divine command. And your rise terrifies the forces that once laughed at your weakness. Now, as you read these words, heaven is witnessing your awakening. The Spirit of God hovers over you, whispering, "It's time. Your wilderness days are over. Your hiding season has expired." This is the moment when you step into full authority, not with pride, but with holy confidence. Lift your head. Straighten your crown. You are no longer the one seeking validation. You are the one carrying revelation. The same voices that ignored you will soon echo your message. The same doors that shut in your face will now open wide. What was once a place of rejection will become a platform of recognition. Your rise will not be loud at first. It will be undeniable. And those who mocked your prayers will watch them manifest before their eyes. Heaven is broadcasting your breakthrough, and all creation leans in to listen. This is your awakening. Chosen one. You are in charge, not by might, not by manipulation, but by divine mandate. The throne you serve from is not made of gold, but of obedience. And as you walk in it, the kingdom of darkness trembles. If these words resonate in your spirit, let heaven record your agreement. Like, share, and comment 777 to mark your divine alignment with this message. Then, subscribe to stay connected to the voice that keeps calling you higher. The unveiling has begun. Chosen one. What was hidden beneath years of silence is now surfacing in radiant clarity. The mask that the world placed on you is falling away. And what remains is pure authenticity, heaven's original blueprint. You were never meant to fit into the molds they built. You were meant to break them. Those who once mocked your discipline now whisper your name in curiosity. Those who once dismissed your conviction now feel the tremor of something divine when they hear you speak. You are marked. Heaven's fingerprint rests on your spirit like fire on a seal. It is not something you can wash off or ignore. It follows you everywhere you go. In moments when you tried to act normal, the anointing still leaked through. People didn't know why they respected you, why they feared offending you, or why your words lingered in their minds long after you spoke. They didn't see oil, but they felt authority. This is what it means to be chosen. It's not a crown of convenience, it's a calling of consequence. The mark that rests on you separates you for divine use. And now that the season of concealment has ended, God is revealing His chosen through unmistakable signs. The world calls it coincidence, but the Spirit calls it confirmation. Look around you. Patterns are aligning. Conversations are divinely timed. Dreams are echoing with familiar voices. You are not imagining it. This is divine unveiling. Heaven is announcing your appointment, not through loud trumpets, but through undeniable alignment. Your path is illuminated with favor, and the same people who once avoided you now find themselves drawn to your presence without knowing why. This is not charm, it's spiritual gravity. The mark on your life draws what is meant for you and repels what is not. Some friendships will dissolve quietly. Some alliances will end suddenly. Do not mourn the separation. It is God's way of refining your circle before your rise. The mark demands purity, and not everyone can breathe in your new atmosphere. Remember the story of David, anointed in secret, while others were still chosen by sight. When the oil touched his head, the Spirit of God rushed upon him. And from that day forward, he carried evidence that couldn't be denied. You carry that same evidence. Heaven has whispered your name into eternity's archives, and no human authority can unmark what God has sealed. Do Do you feel the shift? It's not pride swelling, it's purpose awakening. You're walking into a season where your identity will no longer be questioned. You don't have to convince anyone of your calling. Your fruit will speak for you. The mark on your life is proof enough. There was a time when you felt invisible, when your prayers hit ceilings, when your efforts went unnoticed. But the truth is, you were being hidden, not forgotten. God hides his treasures until the appointed time. And now, that time has come. The curtain is lifting, and the audience of heaven is ready. You are stepping into visibility, not because of self-promotion, but because of divine promotion. Even your enemies will recognize it. They may not admit it aloud, but they sense the change. You are no longer the same person who once bowed to fear. Your silence carries weight now. Your presence commands respect. This is the unveiling, the moment when heaven says, "This is my chosen one." There is a sacredness to this unveiling. It's not about fame or recognition, it's about assignment. You have been set apart to carry light into places others fear to go. Your anointing is not ornamental, it's functional. It disrupts systems, breaks sitless, heals atmospheres. When you walk into a room, the spiritual temperature changes. That is the power of divine marking, as was written through the apostle in his first letter. 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own possession, called out of darkness into his marvelous light. Do you understand the weight of that? You are not ordinary, you are consecrated. The mark upon your life is proof that heaven has claimed ownership over you. Your rise is not rebellion, it's obedience to the call that's been echoing since before your birth. Every trial, every tear, every betrayal was molding you into a vessel of fire. So now, stand firm. Walk with the quiet confidence of one who has been seen by God. The unveiling is not for your glory, it is for His. The world finally sees what heaven has known all along. You are the chosen one, marked to lead, destined to transform, called to carry the light, chosen one. Do you feel how the air shifts when you walk into a room? There is something about your presence that unsettles the unseen. You don't even have to speak, your very being releases pressure into the atmosphere. Darkness recognizes divine authority before people do. And that is why some places feel heavier when you arrive. You were not sent to blend in with the environment, you were sent to transform it. Your light has always been dangerous to darkness. You've wondered why certain individuals withdrew without explanation, why tension grew around you for no apparent reason. It wasn't your attitude, it was your anointing. Darkness trembles in the presence of illumination. You carry the kind of light that exposes what others try to hide. You make the invisible visible, and that makes the enemy nervous. You may not realize it, but every time you enter a space, you shift the balance of power. That uneasy silence after you speak, that spiritual recalibration. Heaven recognizes its own, and so does hell. You are not just surviving in a dark world, you are disrupting it. The authority within you is not human, it's divine. It is the residue of God's breath, the echo of His voice still vibrating through your spirit. Once you carried fear into rooms, now you carry fire. Once you questioned your belonging, now environments question their readiness for your presence. You have become a walking contradiction to everything darkness assumed about you. And that's precisely the point. Light doesn't ask for permission, it simply shines. Understand this. Darkness is not the absence of light, it's the resistance to it. When you show up, resistance increases. That's why conflicts appeared out of nowhere. Why people turned cold without reason. Why confusion tried to cloud your peace. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a reaction. The darkness was recognizing the threat you've become. You were born to expose lies and dismantle deception. Your spirit carries truth like a sword. And every time you speak truth in love, you pierce through veils of confusion. This is why your words linger. This is why silence feels sacred when you speak. Heaven partners with your voice because it's been purified through pain. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." That verse is not just a statement, it's your spiritual biography. You are the light that refuses to be extinguished. Every attempt to bury you only proved that the grave could not contain what heaven created. You are illumination, wrapped in human form. That's why your battles were different, your warfare more intense. Light carries responsibility, and you've been entrusted with more than most. Beloved, you are not fighting for visibility, you are fighting to remain faithful. And every time you choose obedience over pride, love over bitterness, mercy over revenge, your light grows brighter. Hell despises that growth. It can't comprehend why you still shine after everything that's tried to break you. But the truth is this: your light doesn't come from you, it comes from the one who called you. You've walked through storms that should have dimmed your flame, yet you glow even stronger. That's not survival, that's resurrection. Every loss became a lamp. Every scar became a spark. You are a living testimony that darkness cannot define destiny. When you pray, shadows retreat. When you worship, chains fall off, others standing near you. When you walk in forgiveness, heaven expands its territory through you. That's what happens when light lives among men. You are an extension of divine radiance on earth, a living declaration that God still reigns. And though some fear your glow, others will find healing in it. They will approach you, not for your perfection, but for your peace. They will sense something holy about you, something that feels like home. Your presence will remind them that God never stopped moving, never stopped loving, never stopped calling. But this power requires stewardship. Do not dim yourself to make others comfortable. Do not apologize for your brightness. Instead, stay rooted in humility, grounded in prayer, anchored in truth. The brighter the light, the deeper the foundation must be. Your authority shines strongest when it bows lowest before God. So today, let this moment be prophetic, an acknowledgement of what you carry. Type "Shine through me" in the comments below. Do it not as an empty gesture, but as a declaration of faith. When you write those words, you align your spirit with heaven's command over your life. You are saying to God, "Use me as your flame. Let my life reveal you." Every keystroke becomes agreement. Every word becomes warfare. It is not for the algorithm, it is for the altar. Chosen one, your presence disturbs darkness because you remind it of its expiration date. Keep shining. Keep walking. The light within you is not seasonal, it is eternal. They whisper now, "Chosen one." You can almost hear it soft. Trembling voices in the unseen. speaking your name with caution. Those who once dismissed you now measure their words. Those who once plotted quietly now walk carefully around your peace. The tables have turned, and heaven did the turning. It is not that you have become intimidating by effort. It is that divine authority has finally revealed itself in you. When the hand of God rests on a person, it cannot be hidden. Every realm has recognized your shift. The whispers of your enemies are proof that the invisible world has taken note of your elevation. You were once a subject of ridicule. Now you have become a subject of concern. The same mouths that gossiped in secret now tremble at the thought of your discernment. They can feel when you pray. They can sense when your spirit moves. And deep down, they know it was never luck. It was the favor of God that marked you. This new season is different. You are not fighting for credibility anymore. Heaven has already stamped your name with authenticity. What they see as sudden was actually years in the making. The fire you walked through didn't destroy you, it refined you. The betrayal that once broke you has now become your spiritual currency. You've traded pain for wisdom, reaction for revelation. It's strange, isn't it, how the same people who ignored you before now study your every move. They watch your silence, searching for clues about your next step. But what they fail to understand is that your silence is not emptiness, it's strategy. You have learned to speak when God speaks, and to move only when heaven moves. That's why confusion reigns among your critics. They cannot predict someone guided by spirit. But do not let their whispers deceive you. Some will still misinterpret your peace as pride. Some will assume your distance is arrogance, when in truth, it's protection. You no longer have the luxury of reckless access. The higher you rise, the thinner the air becomes. Few can breathe where you are going. Do not be surprised if God keeps certain people at arm's length. The same way He protected Joseph by removing him from his brothers, He protects you by separation. You are too valuable to be sabotaged by familiarity. Some people are not evil, they are simply unprepared for your elevation. The whispers of your enemies will soon turn into testimonies. They will say, "We don't know how they did it," but you will know. You will remember the tears, the midnights, the silent prayers, and the days when heaven seemed silent. Those were your foundations. That is where you learned the language of faith, the kind that doesn't need applause, only obedience. This is not a season for retaliation. You don't need to respond to every accusation or defend every rumor. Let them whisper. Let them wonder. You are not in the same dimension of reaction anymore. The truth will outlive their gossip. The oil on your life speaks louder than their words ever could. The Spirit of the Lord is guarding your reputation in this hour. What they meant for harm will become part of your public testimony. There will come a time when those same voices will say, "Surely, the hand of God was on them." For now, remain steady. Keep your peace sacred. Continue to walk as if you already know the outcome, because you do. Victory has been written into your story since the beginning. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 7. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before you. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. And that promise still stands. You don't have to raise your voice to prove it. You just have to keep walking. The more you move in obedience, the more the enemy scatters. Every step you take in peace is a declaration of war against fear. Every moment you choose stillness over panic is a victory in the unseen. Let them whisper. Chosen one. Let them speculate. Their fear is confirmation that your light is growing stronger. When the enemy trembles, it's not because of your name, it's because of the name you carry. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to fulfill everything heaven has written about you. Soon the whispers will fade. The same mouths that murmured will one day proclaim, God was with them. Until then, walk with quiet authority. Your stillness terrifies what your shouting never could. You are not just protected, you are positioned. You are not just seen, you are anointed. And in time, every whisper will become worship. You can feel it now, can't you? Chosen one. The air itself seems to hum with anticipation. What once felt small and insignificant has grown into something undeniable. Your mantle, your divine assignment, is expanding. Heaven is no longer whispering your name, it is declaring it. The quiet season has given birth to influence. And influence, when surrendered to God, becomes impact. People are beginning to look to you for answers. They hear the steadiness in your voice and recognize something unearthly behind it. You've become an anchor for others who are adrift in chaos, a lighthouse for souls still searching the shore. You are not just surviving, you are leading, not by position, but by presence, and heaven delights in that. It's strange how quickly things shift. The same voice that once trembled in prayer now carries authority in speech. The same heart that once questioned its worth now beats with conviction. You have become what you once prayed for, a vessel of purpose. Yet, with that mantle comes weight. The oil flows freely, but it also costs, and heaven trusts you enough to carry it. The world needs what you carry, but it can only flow through open hands. Influence is like water. It nourishes only when it keeps moving. When it stops, it stagnates. The anointing you've been given is not to be hoarded, it's meant to pour out. Each act of obedience becomes a drop in the ocean of change. Each word spoken in love becomes a wave that reaches someone unseen. Think of your life as a river. You are fed by divine rain, sustained by unseen springs, and your purpose is to flow outward to refresh others. But a river that refuses to give eventually dries up. Generosity, in any form, time, prayer, encouragement, or support, is how your current stays strong. The more you pour out, the more heaven refills you. That's the sacred law of flow. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. That verse is not a poetic phrase, it is a command. To arise means to stand where others sit. To shine means to give without fear of being drained. Every word you share, every act of love, every seed you plant, these are the ways your light touches the world. You may think your light is small, but remember, even a candle can guide ships through the fog. Every like, every share, every word that amplifies truth is a ripple in eternity. When you help the message spread, you are not promoting a person, you are participating in the mission. It's not about fame, it's about flame. Every time you let the fire travel beyond you, you become part of heaven's wildfire. And yes, even your giving carries eternal weight. Think of it not as loss, but as planting. When a farmer sows a seed, he doesn't mourn what leaves his hand. He anticipates what will rise from the ground. The same is true with your support. Whether it's a prayer whispered for this mission, a shared message, or a tangible donation. Each act is a seed, and seeds in divine soil never die. Perhaps you've been touched by the words flowing here. Perhaps they've reminded you that you're not forgotten, that heaven still speaks, that your story still matters. If that's true, then let gratitude move into action. Help the message reach those still trapped in silence. Press like, not for vanity, but for visibility, so the algorithm of man can serve the agenda of heaven. Share, not to boast, but to bless. Subscribe, not to follow a voice, but to stay aligned with the frequency of truth. And if your heart feels stirred to give to help this river keep flowing, do it with joy, not pressure. Every drop of support keeps the current alive, allowing light to reach corners where darkness still thinks it reigns. Because, chosen one, this isn't just content, it's calling. Every moment you engage, heaven notices. Every seed you sow becomes a flame that lights another path. You are not a spectator, you are a co-laborer. Together, we built altars in digital deserts. Together, we create sanctuaries in scrolling spaces. Together, we prove that light can travel through screens and still set hearts ablaze. So, arise, shine. Your light has come. And as you do, remember, you're not supporting a voice. You're strengthening a movement. A divine uprising of the chosen ones awakened, empowered, unstoppable. And when you click, share, give, or simply pray, you are saying to heaven, let it flow through me. Oh, that, beloved, is how mantles multiply. You have begun to notice the signs, haven't you? Chosen one, numbers, patterns, moments that align so perfectly they almost frighten you. The clock flashes a familiar sequence. A stranger speaks a word you dreamed the night before. A song on the radio echoes the prayer you just whispered. These are not coincidences. These are divine fingerprints, subtle, deliberate reminders that heaven is tracking your every step. The realm of the spirit communicates not only in words, but in symbols, numbers, and timing. What you call coincidence is often God's language of confirmation. Heaven is speaking in patterns that only the awakened can perceive. You, who carry divine sensitivity, are beginning to decode these messages. Every number that repeats, every sequence that stirs your attention, carries meaning. Some represent completion, others renewal, others divine alignment. When these symbols appear, they are not random, they are markers placed along your path, heavenly breadcrumbs leading you toward your next assignment. You are walking in divine synchronization. Heaven's calendar has opened, and your name is written on its current page. When everything begins to align around you, when circumstances that once opposed you suddenly yield, it is not luck, it is divine order. The psalmist once wrote, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way." End quote. Look back for a moment. Think of all the things that didn't make sense when they happened. The delay in your plans, the sudden ending of relationships, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers. You grieved them as losses, but now you see, they were divine edits. God was not punishing you, He was positioning you. What you called rejection was often redirection. You have entered the season where divine mathematics takes over. God multiplies what you sow and subtracts what would have hindered you. He divides burdens among allies you never expected and adds grace where you least deserve it. The equation always equals purpose. There's a reason your awareness of spiritual signs has increased. Heaven is teaching you a new rhythm, the rhythm of alignment. You are learning to move when God moves, and to rest when He pauses. This is not superstition, it's sensitivity. Every chosen one must learn the language of alignment before carrying greater authority. When heaven synchronizes with earth, even time bends. Opportunities arrive without effort. Conversations unfold at the perfect moment. Doors open that you didn't even knock on. This is divine choreography, the dance between destiny and obedience. And you, beloved, are now in step with it. Still, alignment is not always comfortable. Sometimes, divine timing requires waiting when your heart longs to run. Other times, it demands boldness when fear says to hide. Trust the timing. When you walk in obedience, every delay protects you and every acceleration propels you. Nothing is wasted in divine order. There's also a deeper reason you're seeing prophetic numbers. Heaven is asking for acknowledgement. God does not show signs to be ignored. He shows them to be honored. When you notice them, whisper a thank you. When you see alignment, say, I see you, Lord. That small act of awareness invites greater revelation. So now, as you read this, pause, breathe, look at the flow of your recent days. Can you sense the precision? How one encounter prepared you for the next? How a small decision weeks ago unlocked a blessing today? That is divine mathematics at work. The invisible has always been orchestrating the visible. Chosen one. This section of your journey is about agreement. Heaven is aligning with you, but it requires that you also align with heaven. Agreement unlocks acceleration. When you say yes to divine timing, resistance fades and doors open. That's why this message has reached you now, not earlier, not later, but precisely in this moment. The same hand that wrote your name in eternity arranged this encounter right on schedule. The Spirit spoke through the psalmist long ago, and those ancient words are alive within you now. Your steps are not random, they are orchestrated symphonies of purpose. So here is your prophetic act for this moment of alignment. Type 888 in the comments below. Do it not as superstition, but as surrender. That number represents new beginnings, infinite flow, and divine balance. When you write it, you are declaring before heaven, I align my path with divine order. I trust the timing. I surrender control. You are stepping into a realm where time serves you instead of restrains you. Every second from this moment forward is pregnant with purpose. The numbers will continue to appear, not to confuse you, but to remind you that you are never walking alone. The author of time walks beside you, orchestrating every detail with precision. Trust him, align with him, and let the numbers remind you. This rise is not random, it's written. You remember the nights, don't you? The ones when rejection felt heavier than gravity itself. The moments when you stood in the middle of an empty room, asking heaven why everyone else seemed to be chosen. Everyone except you. But now, looking back, you realize rejection was never punishment. It was redirection. Every door that closed was a divine boundary drawn in mercy. The truth is, Rejection did not weaken you, it refined you, the fire that others feared. You learned to live in. Pain became your tutor. Silence your sanctuary. You learned to speak less and discern more. You learned to stand in rooms where your worth was questioned, and still radiate calm, still carry grace. Those who misunderstood you thought they were diminishing your light, but they were actually forcing it to grow stronger. It is a strange paradox how pain can polish purpose, how being cast aside can carve out capacity. You, chosen one, have walked through the curriculum of heaven's hardest lessons. You learned patience through delay, humility through humiliation, compassion through betrayal. Every rejection letter from man was a love letter from God, saying, I have something better. In your wilderness, you were being built. While others enjoyed comfort, you were cultivating depth. While they gathered applause, you gathered wisdom. Heaven was not hiding you, it was seasoning you. Because when your moment arrived, you needed to carry not just glory, but gravity. Now you understand what others cannot. That favor without formation destroys. You were not ready back then, not because you lacked ability, but because your roots weren't deep enough to handle the weight of rain. Now, after storms, after tears, after nights of aching prayer, your roots grip bedrock. And when you see faces from your past, those who doubted you, those who left when you needed them most, something inside you no longer burns with bitterness. Instead, it hums with understanding. You realize they were never enemies, they were instruments. Their rejection pushed you into revelation. Their distance forced you into dependence on God, not man. You used to think loneliness was your curse, but it was your training ground. Heaven had to isolate you, to calibrate you. When everyone walked away, heaven leaned in. In that isolation, you discovered the most dangerous weapon of all, contentment. You stopped needing applause to feel anointed. You stopped begging for platforms because you realized the secret. Authority comes from presence, not popularity. Now your silence speaks louder than your voice ever did. Your peace has become prophetic. You can stand in a storm and smile, not because you're numb, but because you finally trust the one who commands the wind. Every bruise has become a badge of experience. Every scar, a scriptural sermon. You are not broken, you are branded. It was proclaimed long ago in the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20. What you meant for evil, God meant it for good, to bring about the saving of many lives. Those words live in you now. They are your story, summarized in a single sentence. What others used to wound you became the very tool heaven used to awaken you. You are not a victim of rejection, you are the product of refinement. Do you see how every heartbreak now connects like threads in a tapestry? The friendships that fell apart taught you discernment. The betrayals birthed your prayer life. The loneliness made you listen. Each pain was a hammer striking shape into your spirit. And now, when others come to you bleeding from the same wounds that once nearly destroyed you, you carry something to offer, not sympathy, but authority. You can say, I've been there, and your words carry weight. Because authority is not born from theory, it's born from survival. The seasons of rejection were not wasted. Heaven was teaching you to stand without applause, to walk without direction, to love without return. Those are lessons only learned in hidden places. Now you move, differently. You no longer chase opportunities, they chase you. You no longer fight for belonging, belonging finds you. Because rejection never truly left you empty. It emptied you of dependence on anything that wasn't divine. You see, chosen one. Rejection was heaven's scalpel, cutting away counterfeit connections. It hurt, but it healed. And now you rise. Not with bitterness, but with clarity. You can thank the storms because they revealed your strength. You can forgive the abandoners because they revealed your anointing. You can bless the pain because it revealed your purpose. This is the alchemy of the chosen, turning ashes into oil, wounds into wisdom, rejection into revival. Every no you received from man became a yes whispered from heaven. And one day soon, you will look back and smile not in pride, but in awe, because you will realize that every rejection was heaven's redirection, and every lonely night was proof that you were never truly alone. There comes a point in every chosen life when words lose their power against you, when every accusation, every rumor, every attempt to stain your name falls lifeless before it reaches your heart. That is where you are now. Chosen one. The time for defending yourself has passed. The time for demonstrating truth through silence has arrived. You used to tremble when people misunderstood you. You used to waste hours trying to correct stories, trying to convince others of your sincerity. But heaven has taught you that divine justice doesn't need your defense, it needs your endurance. Truth is not proven through argument, but through time. And time has a way of revealing who was truly aligned with heaven. Those who once used their tongues as weapons have grown weary. The more they spoke, the more they exposed themselves. You did not have to fight back because your peace became your armor. You learned that not every battle deserves your voice. Some wars are won simply by standing still. You now carry the kind of composure that frightens the unhealed. They can't understand how you remain calm while surrounded by chaos. They don't realize that peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of God. You've stopped explaining your silence because you've realized it's not emptiness, it's evidence. Evidence that you trust God's vindication more than man's validation. In earlier days, every insult pierced deeply. Every false story became a storm in your spirit. But now, when you hear them whisper, you smile, not in mockery, but in mercy. You know how much energy it takes to keep hatred alive, and you refuse to feed that fire. You've moved on, but their words still circle the same ashes. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. No, that promise has wrapped itself around your life. It is not poetic exaggeration, it is reality. The weapons they forged were real. The lies they crafted were sharp. But every time they launched one, heaven intercepted it. What was meant to wound you became proof of your resilience. What was designed to humiliate you became fertilizer for your growth. There is something sacred about surviving false accusation. It gives you a new kind of strength, quiet, steady, unshakable. You no longer need to announce your innocence. The evidence of God's favor on your life speaks louder than any defense ever could. Every blessing, every open door, every moment of peace, these are divine rebuttals written by God Himself. And yet, this victory has also softened you. You could have become hardened by bitterness, But you didn't. Instead, you've become more compassionate. You know what it feels like to be misjudged. So you've learned to judge others less. You know what it feels like to be lied about. So you've learned to speak carefully. The attacks that were meant to break you actually built your empathy. You carry mercy now like a sword and shield, able to protect but unwilling to wound. When others curse, you bless. When they plot, you pray. When they vanish, you forgive. You've discovered the highest form of authority, the ability to stay kind in a cruel world. Heaven saw every tear you hid, every sigh you suppressed. Not one moment of pain escaped divine notice. And in the quiet, God whispered, "Let me fight for you." You obeyed, and heaven moved. That's why you're still standing when others thought you'd fall. That's why your peace feels supernatural. It is. Understand this. Every chosen vessel must go through the fire of falsehood. You cannot carry divine truth until you've been tested by human lies. This is the purification of reputation, the process that teaches you the difference between who you are and what they say you are. And now, you've emerged untouchable, not because you are above pain, but because pain has purified your motives. You no longer act to prove, but to serve. You no longer respond to attack, but to assignment. Your heart has been sifted, and what remains is gold. The voices that accused you have grown faint. Some have even begun to repent quietly, realizing too late that their words were arrows against God's plan. Others will never apologize, but their silence will speak volumes. Either way, heaven has already ruled in your favor. Chosen one, you are walking proof that truth always rises. Lies are loud, but temporary. Truth is silent, but eternal. Let your life remain the courtroom where heaven testifies. Keep your peace, keep your posture, and keep walking forward. Every step you take is a verdict of victory. One day, those who cursed your name will have to admit nothing they said could stop what God started. Until that day, keep shining, keep forgiving, keep trusting the judge who never loses a case. You can feel it, can't you? Chosen one, that subtle shift in the atmosphere, the moment when everything that was once hidden begins to emerge into light. This is the hour of recognition. The world that once overlooked you now pauses, watching, wondering how someone like you carries such unexplainable grace. You are stepping into visibility, not through effort, but through divine orchestration. For a long time, heaven kept you in obscurity. While others flaunted their platforms, you were being trained in silence. While others ran ahead, you were told to wait. It wasn't rejection, it was preservation. God was cultivating your spirit in secret, so that when you stepped into the public eye, you would stand with purity, not pride. Now, the unveiling is upon you. What was planted in private is blooming in public. People are beginning to notice something different, an essence, a radiance, a peace that cannot be explained by charisma or skill. They can sense the weight of heaven resting on you, though they cannot describe it. And whether they admit it or not, they know something divine surrounds you. You've become evidence that preparation is never wasted. The quiet years, the years of tears, of small beginnings, of unnoticed faithfulness were sacred. Every prayer you thought disappeared into silence actually built the foundation beneath your feet. Heaven was constructing your stage, long before man saw your value. Now, that divine construction is finished, and God is lifting the curtain. The spotlight of destiny shines not to glorify you, but to magnify Him through you. This is not fame, it's fulfillment. When heaven promotes, it's never for vanity. It's for visibility, so that others can see what obedience looks like in flesh and blood. As David wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." That verse was more than poetry, it was prophecy. You are living in that fulfillment now. The same audience that watched you fall will witness your restoration. The same ones who spoke against you will have to acknowledge the favor surrounding you. But remember this, visibility is not validation, it's responsibility. The spotlight is a test disguised as a triumph. It reveals the heart's true posture. Some people crumble when they are seen because they were built only for applause. But you, chosen one, were built for assignment. Public recognition will not corrupt you because private refinement has already humbled you. This is why God waited. If He had elevated you earlier, you might have mistaken attention for approval. But now you know better. You understand that favor is stewardship. Every opportunity, every platform, every moment of acknowledgement is a tool in your hands to serve heaven's agenda. You do not shine to be admired, you shine to illuminate. Even now, heaven is aligning voices and spaces to echo your message. Divine timing is weaving connections you didn't chase. Invitations will appear. Opportunities will find you. But with each open door comes a holy question. Will you still point upward when the crowd looks your way? That is the true measure of the chosen. The higher you rise, the deeper your roots must remain. Your elevation must never disconnect you from the one who lifted you. Let humility be your fragrance and gratitude your language. Speak less about what you've achieved and more about who sustained you. This moment is not for revenge. It's for redemption. You are not rising to prove anyone wrong. You are rising to prove God right. You are walking evidence that obedience outlasts opposition. And even those who once ridiculed you will come seeking counsel, drawn not by your success, but by your peace. The unveiling of your purpose is not loud, it's luminous. It will not require you to shout. Your results will speak for you. Your light will become a sermon. Your resilience will become revelation. Those who doubted will have to confront the truth. You are not who you were. You are who God always said you'd be. So, as this revelation settles into your spirit, let heaven record your agreement. Type, "It is done," in the comments. Do it not for visibility, but for victory. Those 3 simple words are more than a statement, they are a seal. When you write them, you are declaring, "I accept the unveiling. I step into the table prepared for me. I will carry this visibility with humility and strength." And let your words become worship. Let your comment become covenant. This is the season where heaven's recognition meets earth's realization. You are no longer hidden. You are revealed. And though their whispers may continue, your rise will drown them out, not with noise, but with undeniable light. Your reach is expanding. Chosen one. What once felt like a whisper now echoes across valleys and borders. Your words, your presence, your faith, they travel farther than you know. This is the power of divine assignment. It multiplies beyond sight. like seeds carried by the wind, finding soil in hearts you may never meet. Heaven is stretching your influence, and it is not for your fame, it is for His glory. There was a time when your voice was confined to a few. Now, it resonates across nations, the same way light filters through cracks in a wall. Your message slips through boundaries that no hand could open. Someone across the world hears your words and weeps, realizing they are not forgotten. Another feels courage, return where fear once lived. You are proof that obedience travels faster than ambition. When heaven breathes on something, it grows beyond control. You don't have to force expansion. It happens naturally when the source is divine. You are like a tree planted by the waters, your roots deep and your branches stretching toward heaven. Every word you release becomes a leaf that offers shade to weary souls. Every act of kindness becomes fruit that feeds the hungry in spirit. The voice of God thundered in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 14. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Those words are a prophecy of this very moment. You are part of its fulfillment. The knowledge of God's glory is not spreading only through pulpits, it's flowing through screens, through voices like yours, through messages carried by faith into digital deserts. You are one of the currents in that great sea of glory. Every word, every prayer, every act of generosity adds depth to those waters. But understand this, influence is like a fire. It gives light, but it also demands fuel. If you stop tending it, it fades. The fuel of this flame is community, those who believe, those who share, those who give. Just as every branch must stay connected to the vine to bear fruit, this mission thrives through unity. So, if these words have ever touched your heart, consider what you can do to keep the flame burning. A simple like is not just an action, it's a spark. It tells the digital world, this light matters. When you share, you become a messenger, a modern disciple carrying hope across invisible borders. And when you subscribe, you plant your roots deeper into a community that exists to lift, not to take. Some of you feel an even deeper tug to give, to help the river flow wider. Think of giving not as loss, but as rainfall. When a river flows, it does not hoard the water, it passes it along. And in return, the skies open again. Your donation, your seed, whatever it may be, becomes part of the ecosystem of grace. It allows the message to reach those still standing in drought. Maybe you're not sure how your small contribution matters. But remember, even the smallest drop creates ripples that reach distant shores. One act of generosity might be the very thing that helps a message reach someone on the verge of giving up. You may never know their name, but heaven does. And for those who cannot give financially, your engagement, your prayers, your words of encouragement, they are sacred currency too. When you comment, when you speak blessing, when you pray over this mission, heaven counts it all. No act of support is wasted in the kingdom. Imagine this space like a lighthouse built together. Some bring bricks, others bring oil for the flame, others clean the glass so the light can shine clearly. Each one matters, each one is seen, and together we make sure that no wandering ship is left without direction in the dark sea. This is not about building a brand, it's about building a bridge. A bridge for those still caught between despair and destiny. a bridge that connects hearts to hope. So, if this light has touched you, keep it alive. Press like so, others may find it. Share it, so it can travel where your feet cannot. Subscribe to stay connected to this unfolding movement of grace. And if you feel led, donate, not out of obligation, but out of overflow. Let your giving become the echo of your gratitude, the offering of a soul that has found meaning again. Every flame needs a keeper. Every mission needs hands. Be that keeper. Be those hands. Together, we carry the fire farther than any one of us could alone. You are part of something divine. Chosen one. This isn't a following, it's a fellowship. It's not about me, it's about us. Heaven has linked our paths for such a time as this. Let's make sure the light never dims. There is a stirring within you. Chosen one. A quiet urgency that tells you something sacred is shifting in the invisible realm. Heaven is unlocking hidden armories, revealing weapons forged in your wilderness. These are not physical tools, but spiritual ones, strategies, revelations, and prayers sharpened by the battles you have already survived. You are entering a phase where your victories will no longer be accidental. They will be deliberate, precise, and prophetic. For too long, you fought blindly, reacting to attacks as they came. You prayed in defense, hoping just to endure, but the season of reaction is over. You have matured in discernment. Now you will fight with foresight. Heaven is training your hands for war, not against flesh and blood, but against the darkness that seeks to silence your destiny. You have been taught how to wield peace as a sword. You have learned that silence can strike louder than shouting. You understand now that worship is not weakness, it is warfare. You have discovered that praise confuses the enemy, that prayer disarms principalities, and that gratitude builds walls of protection stronger than steel. These are your spiritual weapons, hidden in plain sight, as it is written in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Your spiritual arsenal is not filled with swords and shields, but with truths and revelations. You have the weapon of discernment to see beyond appearances, the weapon of forgiveness to disarm cycles of vengeance, the weapon of patience to outlast your opposition, and above all, the weapon of love to destroy hatred without ever becoming it. Understand this. Every chosen one carries unique weaponry. Yours may not look like another's. Some fight with prayer, others with creativity, others with compassion or counsel. The key is obedience. The battle is never lost when the soldier fights from instruction rather than emotion. You have learned to listen before you swing. That's why your victories now come with precision. There was a time when you prayed from fear, begging heaven for survival. Now, you pray from authority, commanding what heaven has already promised. You no longer ask if God is with you, you know He is. You no longer question if you are strong enough. You've realized it was never about your strength to begin with. There is a new sound in your spirit, the rhythm of divine warfare. It is calm, confident, and resolute. It says, I have been through too much to fear the same battles again. You have outgrown panic. You move now with purpose. The enemy can no longer manipulate your emotions because you recognize the pattern. What used to make you weep now makes you worship. Even your scars are part of your weaponry. They remind darkness that you are not easily defeated. They carry stories that terrify hell. Each scar says, "I survived what was meant to silence me." That truth alone disarms every future attack. You will begin to see yourself differently now, not as a victim of warfare, but as a commander within it. Heaven trusts you with more authority because you've proven faithful under pressure. You are not reckless with power, you are responsible with presence. When you walk into a room, peace follows. When you open your mouth, chains tremble. You are a walking declaration that light cannot be extinguished. In this stage of your journey, spiritual maturity is your armor. Wisdom is your shield. You no longer need to announce your power. Your peace does it for you, even when you say nothing. The enemy feels your strength. You are no longer a target of fear, you are a force of faith. Chosen one. You were not anointed to live defensively. You were anointed to advance. The time for hiding behind your wounds is over. It's time to fight from your healing. Use your discernment, your compassion, your patience, and your praise. These are not small tools. They are divine technologies, designed by heaven and proven in the furnace of your life. And when you feel weary, remember, even the greatest warriors rest in His presence. Your strength is renewed, not by striving, but by stillness. Your power grows not in chaos, but in communion. You fight best when you remain anchored in peace. The armory is open, and heaven is watching as you step forward. You have everything you need. The battle ahead is not to destroy you, it is to display you. The confirmations have begun to surround you. Chosen one. They arrive not with thunder, but with tenderness, soft signs, subtle reminders, sacred echoes that whisper, "You are exactly where you are meant to be." Heaven is speaking again, not through chaos, but through clarity. Dreams have become louder, intuition sharper, and even your ordinary days now feel charged with divine electricity. You see, God never leaves His chosen ones guessing forever. There comes a moment when confirmation meets conviction, when the invisible hand of heaven touches your life in a way that cannot be denied. You are living in that moment now. You notice how conversations align too perfectly to be random. A friend repeats the very phrase you prayed about that morning. A passage of scripture follows you from sermon to scroll. Numbers, symbols, even the timing of your steps all converge into one undeniable truth. Heaven is orchestrating everything. The prophet once recorded in the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7, "Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing His plan to His servants, the prophets." And in this season, you are one of those servants, not in title, but in intimacy. You hear what others overlook. You sense what others dismiss. The prophetic current is flowing through you because your obedience has tuned your frequency to heaven's voice. God confirms purpose through repetition. What you see often, feel deeply, and dream repeatedly, these are not coincidences, they are callings. Every sign you notice is an invitation to awareness. Heaven doesn't shout to the deaf, it whispers to the listening. You have learned to listen, and now the whispers have become instructions. Some confirmations come through peace, a stillness so firm it silences all fear. Others arrive through disruption, when something that looked good suddenly loses its grip on your spirit. That's God too. Not all alignment feels comfortable. Sometimes, divine confirmation arrives as divine disconnexion. What falls away in this season is not loss, it's guidance. Pay attention to the rhythm of your life. The Spirit speaks through patterns. Maybe it's the same word appearing in conversations, the same number catching your eye, the same scripture burning in your heart. When this happens, don't dismiss it. Ask, Lord, what are you showing me? Confirmation without interpretation becomes confusion. That's why heaven gives you not only signs, but also discernment. The mature chosen ones don't chase every pattern, they test them in prayer. You are no longer a beginner, you are a vessel trained to recognize divine fingerprints. This is also why your faith feels weightier now. Heaven is trusting you with details, blueprints, and timing. You are receiving not just comfort, but commission. God is revealing steps, sometimes one at a time, to ensure your obedience grows stronger than your impatience. Chosen one, the signs are not meant to entertain you, they are meant to empower you. They remind you that you are not walking alone. Every number, every dream, every whisper is heaven saying, keep going, you're aligned. Even creation testifies when you are in rhythm with divine timing. The air feels different. The sky looks alive. Your spirit hums with quiet certainty. That's confirmation, the synchronization of the natural with the supernatural. But do not idolize the signs. They are not the destination, they are the direction. The enemy loves to mimic confirmation with distraction. That is why discernment matters more than fascination. Pray over every pattern. Test every sign with peace. True confirmation never brings confusion. It brings clarity. You've reached a pivotal moment where heaven is marking your path with unmistakable symbols. The patterns you're seeing are not random, they're prophetic. You are walking in pre-written steps. Even what looks delayed is perfectly timed. Right now, heaven invites you to acknowledge this alignment openly, to act as a witness to your own awakening. So, as a prophetic act of agreement, type 4,444 in the comments below. That number is more than a sequence. It is a declaration of divine order and angelic presence. It symbolizes foundation, structure, and completion of cycles. When you write it, you are saying to heaven, I see the pattern, I recognize the confirmation, I align with divine order. And of two, don't rush this moment. Feel it. Every breath right now is part of the confirmation. Every word on this page is timed. Nothing is accidental. Even your reading of these lines is part of the prophecy you are living. You are not lost. Chosen one, you are led. The confirmations will continue. Each one strengthening your faith and refining your focus. Trust them. But more than that, trust the one who sends them. For the path you walk has been lit not by logic, but by light. Every sign is a flicker of his presence, guiding you home to purpose. There is a shaking happening all around you. Chosen one, you can sense it in the air, in conversations, in systems that once felt unmovable. What was once stable now trembles. What was once trusted now fractures. Do not be afraid of this shaking. It is not chaos. It is cleansing. Heaven is dismantling what no longer aligns with divine order. You are witnessing the falling of old systems and the rising of a new structure, one built not on fear but on truth. Everything that can be shaken is being shaken. False foundations, empty traditions, hollow authorities, all of it is being exposed. The light that you carry has begun to touch structures that have hidden corruption for too long. You may feel the tremors in your own life, relationships breaking apart, habits collapsing, comfort zones crumbling. But know this: God shakes only what He intends to rebuild stronger. For too long, the world built towers of pride, altars to ego, and systems that silenced the spirit. But now, heaven is reclaiming the narrative. The shaking you feel is divine correction, not destruction. It is heaven's way of re-establishing what was lost: purity, justice, mercy, and truth. You, chosen one, are part of that reconstruction. As it is written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 26, "Yet once more I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens." That verse is not distant prophecy, it is current reality. The shaking is not a sign of God's absence but of His involvement. When heaven moves, everything built on lies begins to crumble. And though the noise of collapse may frighten the unprepared, the chosen understand what falls is not the kingdom, but the counterfeit. You've likely felt this shaking personally. Perhaps things you depended on began to fail, plans unraveled, people departed, structures you relied on began to erode. It is uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. For if the foundation beneath you was unstable, how could heaven build eternity upon it? The shaking is mercy, disguised as movement. Think of it like this: when a sculptor chisels marble, it looks violent, but the artist is not destroying the stone. They are revealing what was hidden inside it all along. That is what God is doing with you, with your life, and even with the world around you. He is shaping, refining, revealing. The hammer blows are holy. The world calls it crisis. Heaven calls it correction. You are living in the tension between the falling of man-made empires and the unveiling of divine blueprints. New voices are rising, hidden ones, like you are being positioned to build differently. You will not repeat the mistakes of those before you, because you have seen what pride produces. You will build with integrity, with compassion, with reverence. But the shaking does not come only to the wicked, it comes to everyone. Even you, chosen one, will feel the sift. Every impure motive, every lazy compromise, every unguarded thought will be tested by this shaking. Do not resist it. Let it purify you. For when the dust settles, only what is true will remain standing. This is a time of separation. The false will fall away from the faithful, the superficial from the sincere. It is not punishment, it is positioning. God is aligning His army, setting apart those who walk in humility and truth. And when the shaking ends, those who endured will emerge unshakable. You have seen this in small ways already. Things that once held your interest no longer satisfy. People you once ran with no longer understand your vision. That is not arrogance, it's ascension. Heaven has elevated your frequency, and not everyone is meant to rise with you. Even the ground beneath you may feel unstable right now. But remember, foundations must be tested before they can carry weight. You are being prepared to stand firm while the world trembles. You are becoming an anchor in an age of instability. Your calmness will be prophecy. Your peace will become proof that the kingdom of God cannot be shaken. So, when you see systems fall, governments, industries, even ideologies, do not panic. The collapse is not the end, it's the beginning. What is of God will remain, and you will be among the remnant who rebuilds. You will help plant seeds in the ruins, and from those ashes, gardens will grow. Do not mourn what is falling, mourn only if you refuse to rise. For the kingdom that cannot be shaken is already within you. Chosen one, stand firm. The shaking will pass, but your foundation will remain eternal. And when the tremors cease, the world will look to you not because you survived, but because you stood. There is a quiet weight that rests upon those who carry glory. Chosen one, it is not a burden of punishment, but of purpose. The closer you walk with heaven, the heavier the responsibility becomes. Glory is not a glittering crown, it is a mantle soaked in sacrifice. To carry it is to know both the beauty of divine favor and the ache of divine testing. You are living that paradox now. Many long for the shine of glory, but few can endure its gravity. The anointing that elevates you is the same anointing that isolates you. The presence that empowers you is also the presence that purges you. To carry God's light is to bear His fire, and fire both warms and refines. You are not being punished by the pressure, you are being prepared by it. You have likely felt it in your spirit, the tension between calling and cost. Some days you feel unstoppable, filled with clarity and strength. Other days you feel fragile, almost invisible, wondering why the very thing that blesses others seems to break you. That's the nature of glory. It demands a vessel that has been hollowed of self. Remember, even Jesus in his humanity felt the weight of his assignment. The Garden of Gethsemane was not a place of glory denied, it was glory distilled. Prayerful produce purity. Oil flows only from crushed olives. Light emerges only when the wick is trimmed. So it is with you. The apostle wrote about this mystery in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And those words are the heartbeat of your current season. Grace is not a cushion, it is capacity. It expands you when the weight feels unbearable. Every time you think, I can't do this anymore, heaven whispers, you already are. Because grace is not given for the easy days, it's released in the breaking ones. You may not realize it, but every sacrifice has been seen, every tear shed in secret. Every moment you chose silence over defense. Every time you gave when you had nothing left, all of it has been recorded in heaven's archives. Glory demands cost, but it never forgets the giver. The weight you carry is holy. It bends you, but it never breaks you. It humbles you so that pride can find no resting place. It teaches you dependence so that success will not seduce you. The higher you go, the deeper your roots must grow. Heaven will always balance elevation with humility, power with purity, revelation with restraint. And there will be moments when you ask, why me? Why the long nights? Why the isolation? Why the constant testing? The answer, though painful, is simple. Because not everyone can carry what you carry. The oil on your life cost something heaven deemed eternal. It was never meant to be cheap. Because its impact will never be temporary. You are being stretched, refined, and reshaped to hold more glory than you ever thought possible. Every challenge is capacity training. Every disappointment is deepening your well. Every time you are misunderstood, heaven widens your empathy so that when you lead others, You will do so with gentleness and grace. The cost of carrying glory is not just in what you endure, it's in what you must surrender. Your plans, your timing, your image, your control, all must yield to the will of God. Glory has no room for ego. It shines only through surrender. There will come a day when people will see your radiance and call it effortless. They will not understand that every shimmer of glory was bought through silent nights of wrestling and whispered prayers of surrender. They will see the crown, but not the crushing that produced it. So when the pressure increases, don't ask heaven to take it away. Ask heaven to make you strong enough to bear it with grace. Every chosen one must learn to walk while carrying weight, to smile while carrying scars, to lead while still healing. The glory does not make life easier, it makes it eternal. What you build under this weight will outlast you. Every act of obedience becomes legacy. Every silent yes echoes into generations. You are not breaking down, you are being built into something that can contain eternal fire. The heaviness you feel is not punishment. It is proof that you have been trusted with something heaven rarely releases. And though you walk under the weight of glory, know this, you are never walking alone. The same hand that placed the mantle on your shoulders is the same hand that will strengthen you to carry it. Chosen one. Hold steady. The weight you bear today is the very proof that heaven lives within you. There comes a holy stillness before coronation. Chosen one. You can feel it, the air thick with expectancy. The hush before heaven's announcement. You've walked through fire, endured storms, faced rejection, carried glory, and now, the crown that was promised in secret is beginning to gleam in public light. You are not being elevated for recognition, but for representation. The crown you receive is not a symbol of pride, but of purpose fulfilled. You've been tested in private to be trusted in public. Every valley you crossed, every tear that watered the soil of your faith, has prepared you for this moment. The world may think it's a sudden rise, but heaven knows it's a long-awaited unveiling. You have been refined into royalty, not by lineage of men, but by the lineage of obedience. The Apostle Paul wrote in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "There is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to all who love him. But with every crown comes calling. You are not crowned to sit, you are crowned to serve. Your crown is not gold, it's grace. And grace must be shared. The purpose of this elevation is not to be admired, but to ignite others. Your victory is meant to remind others that they, too, are royal, too, are chosen, too, are capable of rising. Think of your crown as a lamp. Its purpose is not to blind others with brightness, but to light the way through the darkness. Your story becomes a lantern in someone else's valley. The more you shine, the safer they become. That is the sacred responsibility of visibility. So now, as you stand at this turning point, let your gratitude be your declaration. If this message has stirred your spirit, if it has reminded you of who you truly are, then take a moment to act. Press like, not as a casual gesture, but as a sign of alignment. Each click says to heaven, I receive this truth. When you share, you extend your crown's light into another's night. Somewhere out there is a soul teetering between faith and fear, scrolling through silence, waiting for confirmation that God still sees them. Your share might be the torch that finds them, and when you subscribe, you are anchoring yourself in a stream of continual encouragement, a fellowship of flames. Every message, every word, every sound that flows from this place is meant to keep your fire alive. You are not alone in your awakening. There are others rising beside you. Then, if your heart feels stirred to donate, do it not as obligation, but as offering. See your giving as pouring oil on the flame, ensuring that the light keeps burning for others, still in shadow. Every drop of support becomes a ripple of hope, extending farther than sight can reach. The harvest of this movement is not measured in views or numbers, it's measured in lives rekindled, and beyond the acts of clicking and giving, there is one more gesture, perhaps the most sacred of all. Leave a comment. Let your words become part of this living altar. Share your gratitude, your testimony, your faith. When you speak life, heaven echoes it. Your story might be the thread that stitches another soul back together. Remember, this isn't a transaction, it's a transformation. Every act of engagement, every word of encouragement, every seed of support, each one becomes part of a kingdom mosaic. Together, we are building something eternal, a sanctuary of sound, a cathedral of faith woven through words. You are not supporting a voice, you are amplifying a mission that turns algorithms into altars, screens into sanctuaries, and followers into flame bearers. You wear the crown now, but not to reign above others, to rise among them. Your life, your words, your generosity, your kindness, all of it becomes an invitation for others to remember their own royalty. You are not a king among servants, you are a servant among kings. Every like is a torch, every share is a spark, every word of encouragement is a prayer sent into digital skies. Every donation is a seed that heaven multiplies into miracles unseen. Let's keep this fire alive together. Let's make sure no chosen one walks in darkness unaware of their light. Let us wear our crowns not as trophies but as torches. So, chosen one, stand tall, breathe deeply, and shine. The crown was never just for your head, it was for your heart. And when your heart burns, the world will see the reflection of heaven through you. Your light has grown steady now. Chosen one, no longer a flicker in the dark. It has become a constant flame, guiding, warming, revealing. You have moved beyond the season of searching for purpose. You are now living it. Every breath, every word, every gesture carries weight. What once felt small now echoes through eternity. Your existence itself has become a message. God is still working through the willing. There is a calmness to you that only those who have walked through fire can carry. It is not the calm of ignorance, it is the calm of understanding. You have faced storms and realized they could not sink you. You have endured silence and discovered that God speaks even there. You have learned that peace is not found in the absence of trouble, but in the awareness of presence. You are now a beacon, subtle but unmistakable. People drawn to you often cannot explain why. They feel safer in your company, stronger after hearing your voice, steadier after being near your spirit. That is because your light is not self-generated. It flows from the one who dwells within. You have become a vessel so transparent that heaven's glow shines through you without distortion. But light does not shine for its own sake. It shines so others can find their way. Your calling in this stage of your journey is not to prove your radiance, but to distribute it. to become a refuge for the weary, a signal for the lost, a calm harbor for those still tossed by waves you have already survived. This is the sacred paradox of being chosen. The higher your light rises, the lower your heart must bow. Visibility without humility becomes vanity. You are not called to be admired, you are called to be available. And true availability often looks like listening when others speak, comforting when others break, or standing quietly when others stumble. The prophet Isaiah once spoke of this mystery in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 3. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Those words echo now over your life. You were never meant to hide. The influence you carry is not accidental, it is ordained. The very people who once dismissed you will soon find direction from the glow you carry. And yet, this recognition is not about fame, it's about function. You are not the source of light, you are the lampstand. You exist to hold the flame high. Your task now is to nurture the light and protect its purity. Do not let bitterness cloud it or exhaustion dim it. Rest often in prayer, feed your flame with truth. Surround yourself with those who keep their own fires burning bright. The company you keep will determine the clarity of your glow. You will find that as your light spreads, you will attract both seekers and shadows. Some will come to bask in warmth, while others will try to steal it. Be discerning. Not everyone drawn to your brightness comes with good intentions. Some approach not to grow, but to drain. Love them, but set boundaries. Protect the flame because it is not yours alone. It belongs to everyone. Your light will one day reach. Remember also that the brightest lights often burn in the darkest places. Don't fear being sent where others avoid. Darkness does not intimidate light, it amplifies it. The deeper the night, the more visible your glow. God often places His chosen in the most broken spaces because that is where light is needed most. Every act of compassion, every word of encouragement, every time you choose faith over fear, you are shining. You may never know the full extent of your impact, but heaven does. The light you carry will outlive your name. It will ripple through generations, illuminating paths you will never walk but helped create. And when weariness whispers that the world is too dark, remember this truth. The darker it becomes, the more obvious the light appears. You do not have to outshine the world. You only have to refuse to go out. You are no longer a flame waiting to be lit. You are a fire waiting to spread. So let your light continue. Steady and sincere. Let it reach those still wandering through shadows. You are not just carrying light. You are light, born of divine spark and sustained by eternal breath. There is a sacred finality to this moment. Chosen one, a sense that one chapter has closed, while another wider, deeper, and eternal has begun. You have walked the narrow path, endured the hidden years, carried the unseen weight, and now you stand on holy ground, steady and unshaken. You are not the same as when you began. Every wound has become wisdom. Every tear has turned to oil. Every valley has prepared you for this mountain top of understanding. You have arrived at a place few reach, the intersection of surrender and sovereignty. Here, you no longer strive to control outcomes. You simply flow in divine rhythm. You no longer question why things happen. You discern what they are shaping in you. This is maturity, the moment when destiny ceases to feel like a dream and starts to feel like daily breath. You are walking now, not in pursuit of promise, but in partnership with purpose. Heaven no longer hides from you, it harmonizes with you. Every step you take is a response to a divine heartbeat. You have become, in every sense, a living prophecy, proof that God still crafts miracles out of mortal clay. The years of training, of silence, of stretching, were never wasted. They carved out capacity within you. They built endurance for eternity. You have learned to walk with calm authority, to speak with grace, to act without fear. You have become what heaven foresaw from the beginning, a vessel refined by fire, unshakable in faith, unstoppable in love. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 16, verse 11, "You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." Everything that once burdened you has transformed into blessing. The pain taught you patience. The delay trained your discernment. The losses prepared you to value what remains. What once felt like punishment, you now recognize as protection. What once felt like weighting you, now understand as weaving threads of purpose knit into the tapestry of destiny. You carry within you the DNA of divine resilience. Storms do not intimidate you. They remind you that you were built to stand. You have discovered that true power is not in resistance, but in surrender. You are not trying to be strong anymore. You are strength, embodied and anointed. And yet, even now, heaven whispers a gentle reminder: do not forget tenderness. Power without compassion becomes tyranny, and destiny without love becomes vanity. You have been crowned, not to command, but to comfort, not to dominate, but to deliver. The mark of the chosen is not dominance, it's devotion. As you move forward, the world will change around you. Some will rise beside you, others will fall away. Systems will continue to shake, but your heart will remain anchored. You have become a lighthouse, steady, constant, and unwavering. Your life now is not merely about surviving, it's about sustaining others through your endurance. And even as you stand tall, remember to kneel often, for the crown you wear shines brightest in humility. The true kings and queens of heaven are not those who sit on thrones, they are those who serve while carrying them. You are entering a legacy season. The work you do now will outlive your name. The prayers you pray will become inheritance for generations not yet born. Your faith will become their foundation. That is the weight and wonder of divine destiny. It never ends with you. It flows through you. And when your time here is complete, when the final sunset of your earthly assignment glows, heaven itself will call your name, not as a stranger, but as a child returning home. You will hear the words every chosen soul longs for: "Well done, good and faithful servant." Allah. You will realize then that every scar was sacred, every burden was beautiful, and every test was love in disguise. You will finally understand that your rise was never about recognition, it was about revelation. God revealed himself through your endurance. So stand now, chosen one, clothed in peace, crowned in purpose, wrapped in light. You have fulfilled your rise. You are the evidence of divine faithfulness, the living proof that when God says chosen, he means forever. Chosen one. If these words have stirred something deep within you, if they've reminded you of who you truly are, of the divine fire that still burns quietly beneath your skin, then this is not goodbye. It's a continuation. You are now part of a living message, a story still being written in heaven's ink. The rise you've just walked through in these chapters is only the beginning of the greater glory ahead. Let this not be the last time we walk together in light. If this journey has spoken to you, if it has healed, lifted, or reminded you that God still calls by name, then take a small act of faith. Like this message as a declaration, I receive my mantle. Share it, not for attention, but to pass the torch to another soul, still wandering in shadow. Leave a comment, your testimony, your prayer, your yes. Words spoken in faith never vanish. They echo in eternity. Every comment is a spark that keeps the flame alive for someone else who needs warmth. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Stay connected to this stream of revelation. The journey of the chosen never truly ends. It unfolds in seasons. What is coming will require the unity of voices like yours, flames joining into one unbreakable blaze. And if your heart feels stirred to donate, do so as a sacred act. Your offering is not about money, it's about movement. Every seed you sow keeps this flow of light reaching hearts across distances we may never travel in person. You help carry the message further into the world's dark corners. Thank you for walking this path. Keep rising. Keep shining. Keep believing. The world has finally realized you were in charge all along.